Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. We got to talk about Big Brother 22 All-Stars. It's too good.
It is, finally! But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.
And if you want to support us on Patreon, you can find a link in the description. Oh boy. Okay. All right. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves because we are going to recap last night's episode.
Yes.
Where that ends, if we didn't know how the rest of this week went, we would be like, ugh, business as usual. But
nope.
Things are good. Things are getting good.
No, yeah. So after we recap the episode, we will then jump into spoilers. So hang tight. Spoilers will come later.
Yes.
Let's start at the top of this Sunday episode. We are on the wall for HOH.
Yes.
But we do a little flashback to when Christmas apologized to Devon.
Yes. Well, she's doing some reflecting on her week as HOH, and game-wise, she feels it was really great. Personally, it was pretty difficult, and I think I don't know if it was as good for your game as you think it is. In fact, I know it wasn't as good for your game as you think it is.
It wasn't.
She is in the lounge, whatever the room is called, the love room. Yeah. The showmance room, and she's talking to Devon, and they're just kind of smoothing things over. This is like pre-HOH competition, like Sarah said, and they're both just saying what they need to say to hopefully let bygones be bygones. But they're not.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have gone that far. Let's move forward. But then Christmas adds on, can I just ask, can I be safe with you?
The nerve.
Nerve.
The nerve of her to say, after that week especially, I need you to guarantee my safety next week. Can you do that for me? Like, no.
Yeah.
Of course, Devon is like, oh, you're good. You're good. Totally. Like, she just does not miss a beat, which is like...
good.
Great. Exactly. That's exactly how quickly you need to say, yes, of course, you're safe. You're good. But Devon in the diary room is like, just so you know, America, I am not... sticking to that deal. I am not a fool.
I'm not falling for this. I know better. And we're like, whew, okay, thank you, Devon.
Yeah, right. Now, in the HOH comp, I think we didn't see anybody drop on the show itself, right? At the beginning of, because it was, we talked about some stuff on the feeds because we were watching the feeds as we were live last week. So we talked about Devon being the first one to drop, but I loved her DR session paired with it, where she's like, oh, they're keeping me here because I can't win comps. It's easy to beat me, and I'm going to use that. And so then she's like falling, and she cries, and she's crying in the DR about how she sucks at comps, and then she wipes away those crocodile tears, and she's like, let's play Big Brother.
She's like, and that's how you play Big Brother. And I was like, yes, honey, thank you. Do I buy it that you threw this? Not at all. There's no way she threw it to be the first one out and a have not. No, ma'am, I do not buy that. But thank you for sitting in the DR and telling me with tears that it was a whole big concoction. This is why she's DR gold, is because I don't care what the truth is. That was gorgeous, and thank you, CBS, for playing along.
Yes. Now, Dani's strategy in this is she just wants to outlast Tyler because she doesn't fully trust him after what happened last week with him, telling Bailey and Devon that she had thrown their name out, yada, yada. We've talked about that at length, but she's just trying to make sure she's after him. Nobody, it seems, is like really gunning for this except Ian. I would say, like, we got a DR from Ian saying, like, I want to win this because I got to figure out, he like needs to like get in the game and have some kind of like power, influence, information. And so he's like, I want to find out what those powers are. I want to use this HOH as leverage to figure that out. And then I want to figure out how I can use those powers to benefit my game. And then he promptly falls off the wall and is a half not.
Right. Well, I mean, this is basically how you edit one of these endurance comps. They have them, they're like, tell me why you want to win this, whether they want to or not. And then they cut it to them falling off the wall. Right. So David dropped second. then Ian. So those are our first 3 out. Those are our have-nots this week.
Right.
And literally Memphis is just waiting. He's like, how many was it? How many have-nots? 3? Okay, 3.
No, literally. Like, as quickly as Davon told Christmas she was safe, that's how quickly Memphis fell off the wall as soon as the have-nots were locked. Like, I'm good. I'm not staying on this wall. I just didn't want to eat slop.
Jump.
Jump. Yes.
He's like, and then I hopped down. We're good. I'm hopping down. Okay. Bye. Peace out. Not even.
Not trying. Now, Enzo did not appear to throw it.
No?
He just changed his grip on the whatever those are called in rock climbing, and it just was not ideal for when they, bent over, and he seems like he legitimately fell there.
Yeah, yeah. And I think Enzo is one of those that doesn't really throw comps. Like, he'll do what he has to do. So, he falls down. And now we are left with our last 4 because this crew cannot let Tyler. Well, two of the 3 can't let Tyler get it. Cody could have let Tyler get it. Cody doesn't care.
Yeah.
But Dani and Nicole.
Oh, you think Nicole needed to outlast Tyler too? Because she didn't seem concerned.
Yeah, maybe it was just Dani, but yeah. So Dani is definitely hanging on because Tyler is hanging on, but Tyler's not looking great. Like, he's struggling.
He is, yeah, and he does fall in 4th place, and then the other 3, all of them want to throw it. Like, none of these 3 are gunning for it. Cody specifically is like, it's time for Nicole and Dani to like get some blood on their hands. Like, I do not want this HOH, and Nicole's like, I could win, but like, it's still a little early. I don't need to win an HOH yet. And so
no, she'd been talking all week about how she didn't want to win. Again, this was just like Memphis. As soon as Tyler dropped, they were like, hey, we got to get down quick. Don't be the last one.
I'm surprised it wasn't like this simultaneous where they have to like freeze the footage to see whose foot touches last, because I just figured, why wouldn't Dani pull, exactly like you said, pull a Memphis and just step down immediately if you're only waiting for Tyler? But it was Nicole who drops first. And then Cody's like, well, I got to hurry up and go because I'm not going to be HOH. So it was like,
exactly. Like, Dani, I think, is the only one who's like, I'm going to try to play it cool and not be like, okay, Tyler's down. Now I jump off. But Nicole and Cody were like, oh, no, we will. Like, diving so quickly. They're like, we're done. We don't want to. So here we are. Dani is HOH by default.
Yes. And she's, playing it off like she's happy, emotional that she won. It was like a challenging competition. And she was one who especially was like shivering on the wall. Like, the water was very cold. So, she's like got tears in her eyes and acting excited to be the HOH. But I don't think she really wanted this power right now.
Like, she doesn't really want it or need it, but she kind of needs it because of Tyler. But if Tyler's down,
true.
But like, you do want that letter from your family, so
and she did mention that. Yeah,
you kind of get sucked into that. So there's no reason for her not to be HOH. Just take it.
Yeah.
Knowing what happened.
I know. Okay. So then we get, DRs from people about how they feel about Dani being HOH. Tyler's not fully comfortable because of all the stuff that happened with them. Nicole feels fine. We see Dani tell Davon that she's fine. Like, you got nothing to worry about this week. And Davon's like, great. David's nervous, but he, has the power. He doesn't talk game with Dani. He doesn't talk game with a whole lot of people, period. But he's like, I got this power, so like, I should be fine. Then we see Davon and Dani kind of continuing their budding relationship up in the HOH room, and Dani's asking for Davon's opinion. Like, what would you do? And she's like, well, I would put up Christmas. And she's like, you would? And Davon is like, she put me up, so yes, I would.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
And then she's like, and then
and Tyler.
I would
Christmas
put
and Tyler. Easy, done. I know exactly what I would do. And Dani's kind of like, I don't think that's what I'm gonna do. That's
no, I'm working with those people, so I don't want to put them on the block.
Whoops. I'm working with those people.
Right. And then Cody comes in with what I'm sure is the plan for that entire, collection of people who are working together, whether it's the committee or whatever. But he's like, David and Kevin, obviously, like what are we even talking about here? Like, these are the only two people in the house that we don't have any sort of alliance with. This is an easy week. We're putting up David and Kevin. And she's like, okay, cool. I get it.
Wink, wink, easy week.
Yeah. If one of them were to come down.
Yeah.
Let me just pitch you on this. And she's like, backdooring Tyler. And he's like, oh, not totally sold on that. Let's just hope Kevin and David stay the noms.
Yeah. Now, a lot of this stuff is out of order. And we talked about most of this on Friday's video. Of like the plan from the jump was Kevin and David. Like, Dani was not going to do any other plan. It was those two, because they've been talking about it for a week. The committee is solid, except for, you know, a few stragglers on the outside, Kevin and David being two of them. So that was always the plan. But in the back of her mind, she's like, do I want to backdoor Tyler? Which is where they're like trying to go with this in the edit. Obviously, Cody's like, no, you don't want to do that at all. And she's like, but maybe I will. At this point, at least. Yeah,
at this point, right. Now, we get a little like interlude in between all of the game talk. We see Dani scaring Cody under some pillows, which was actually very funny. I love that they got him.
That was a really funny moment. And David and I were talking earlier about, like, that was last week. It was the day of the fight, I believe. It was like, I just remember it being a super dramatic day, like stuff was going down. And then all of a sudden they like scared Cody, and it was hilarious.
And I personally loved this segment with Kevin talking about representing the LGBT community, and it's very diverse, you know, like humanity in general. And he's like, I'm the one here. And, you know, I just worry about how I'm representing the community at large. You know, I got some hate the last time I was on the show for being too feminine, or for being feminine. And Dani was like, too feminine or not feminine enough? And I was like, oh girl, like all the hate comes from being too feminine. Like, nobody is hating on anybody in the gay community, unfortunately, for like not being feminine enough. But I was like, that's very cute of you to ask that question. But like, I just appreciated that CBS aired this, because I have seen hate for Kevin from the LGBT community on Twitter. Really? And it's like, people are like, ugh, when are we going to get a gay who's not annoying on the show and stuff like that? And I'm just like, why are we doing this? And I just kind of love that they put that up there to make, I mean, you can never shut the trolls up, but I just like wanted it to kind of like slap the trolls across the face a little bit. Like, Kevin is aware that you don't like him, and he's just here trying to be himself, and he's really trying to like do good by the community. So if you could just like not tweet the negative thoughts that you have, we'd all be better for it, you know?
Well, first off, you can tweet about how bad his game is. That
of course. Yes.
But this is the problem with having one person represent an entire group of people. If you only have the one representation on a show, that is so much pressure to represent whatever it is that your group is. Totally. And it shouldn't fall on one person's shoulders, because we're all human and we're all different and dynamic and layers, and we have variety to us, no matter what little category we belong in. But I really did love what Kevin was saying about how putting out this hate is sometimes because certain people haven't had self-acceptance, haven't accepted themselves for whoever they are. And so they're kind of hating on themselves and putting out hate. And I feel like that is universal. That is so many people hate things about themselves, and then they project it and spread the hate to other people that maybe they see themselves in or whatever. I thought it just like boiled down to like, we all just need to love ourselves. My goodness.
Yeah. Right. And it's like, I also loved that piece of what he was saying. I forgot about that specifically, but he was kind of saying like, oh, they see something in me that they don't like in themselves. So they see femininity in Kevin, and they don't like that they are also feminine. So they're hating on Kevin's femininity. Right. But I also think that Kevin was talking about that he embraces his femininity in a way that some LGBT people don't. And I think that people who are trying to maybe suppress their own feminine, femininity,
right,
attack him because they're like, oh, he is happy that he's that way. And like, how dare he be happy when really like they kind of wish that they could embrace that side in themselves, So it's just like, I'm just very much on the like, keep it to yourself bandwagon. Like, I'm not interested in hearing like Sarah said, we can criticize his game all day, really. All day. We have enough material, but like, let's just leave his identity out of it because it's irrelevant.
Yes, I feel like that for everyone, please. Like, we don't need to personally hate on anyone individually, but yes, so glad that CBS aired this segment. Keep it going, CBS. With the important
that's right.
segments.
Yeah, that's right.
Even when Kaser's not in the house, we can
right. Yes, absolutely. So then we get back to game, and we've got Tyler. Now, we talked about this conversation in our last video already, but this is where he's telling Dani, like, if you nominate me, if you backdoor me, I'd get it. I'm not going to be mad. Like, totally understand.
I get it. You can put me up. It's fine. It's fine. Where have we seen that before? I just feel like a lot of stuff that happened this weekend it just resembles the original All-Stars a little bit, where there was one person who really was like, put me up. Go ahead, put me up, put me out. And every week do it.
Sarah, are you making a comparison between Tyler and Dr. Will?
Look, that's like, I am not saying that he is a Will at all, but there are definitely some similarities that are occurring right now. And if some people in the house could figure that out, they might play differently, but they have not yet.
Right. Yeah. Well, Dani kind of talks to Nicole about this Tyler plan, this like seed of a Tyler plan, because she's already talked about it with Cody. Now Tyler's kind of giving her permission. So she's throwing it, just running it by Nicole's desk. And Nicole is like just woken up from sleeping. And so she's like kind of in a haze and not saying much to Dani in the moment. Right. But in the DR, she's like, it's too early. Like, this could get ugly. We don't need to do this. She's very much like, easy route. I do not want to like break this alliance up because it's really working for me right now.
Right. Yeah. The overall here is easy. Please, Kevin and David just need to go up. Like, can we just get Kevin or David out here? And that leads Dani to like sort of cover her bases with Tyler of like, I don't know if I'm going to go after Tyler this week. So let me get a promise from him. Let me try to make a deal. And it starts with, hey, down to the 6 of the committee. We'll keep each other safe. And he says, I'll do you one better and say final 4.
Final 4. And she's like, okay, final 4.
Alrighty, let's shake on that.
Shake on it.
Yeah, and when we talked about this on Friday, it's like we knew she was considering backdooring Tyler if the veto is used. How real is this? We don't know, but they shook on it, so it's something there. Yeah. And that leads us into nomination.
Noms. Yeah. So we saw the Kevin conversation where she was like, I've got a big plan, but I need some pawns. And he's kind of like, oh my God, if anybody wants to use me as a pawn again, so help me God. But at the nomination ceremony, Kevin's is the first face, David's is the second. This, like you said, this was the plan all along. And kind of the closing thought for the episode is David's like, I got that power though, so
hey, stay tuned.
Get ready.
Yes, unfortunately, we don't get to see it in this episode, so let's move on to spoilers so we can talk about it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay,
ready?
A 2. Spoilers. Maybe? Yeah.
I think that might have been the best yet. But I'll let the chat decide.
Yes. Give us the verdict. We're still taking feedback. We're still working on that.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Yes. Noms happened on Friday, and Friday night the feeds went back down for a separate ceremony to go dun dun dun.
Disruptor.
Okay, this sounds hilarious because David Remember last season when he was in his Ica interview, he was like, I can cry on like cue. Like I taught myself to fake cry. Right. Well, here he is like reach into pocket and pull out fake cry. He started crying though, according to Memphis and a couple people, too soon. He started crying too soon.
Okay, got it. It's
Before
all
anyone knew that David was about to be taken off the block. But anyway, disruptor happens. David is taken off of the block secretly. So they don't know who would have done this.
Yeah.
And on the spot, Dani has to pick a renom. And she did it. She put up Tyler.
Yeah, I wasn't sure that she would do it. I think I said in our last video that I thought she might default to Christmas because she kind of was alienated from Christmas because of everything that went down last week. But she pulled that Tyler card. I guess she had enough conversations with the name Tyler in it that she was like, this is my next best option, I guess.
I think she just did not know what to do. We questioned if she would put him up before a veto and like give him that opportunity to play. But I think she was just like, I don't know what to do in this moment. So Tyler, you're going up. So at that point on Friday night, Tyler and Kevin were the nominees and the house just was shook. They were shocked by this. They were shocked that David pulled himself off, and David is literally crying and running around saying, who saved me?
Did you save me?
Was it you?
Are you my savior? Like, what are you doing? Like, because this is not going over well at the house. Granted, what I will say is that no matter what you do, no matter how you handle a situation, if the house doesn't like the result of what you did, they will find a reason to be unhappy, right?
Oh,
so
of course.
They're all running around like, why won't he just own it? Why won't he just admit that he did it? We all know he did it. Everybody's going to use that power to save themselves. That's it. Like they're all fired up about this, right?
Yes.
But I think even if he had said like, yeah, it was me, I saved myself, they'd find another reason to be mad because what they're mad about is the fact that he's now safe. Right?
Exactly. For the first time, the committee is not in control. Something happened that they didn't want to happen. They're going to lose it no matter what. And for us, Team Fun Feeds, great. They're spinning. It's hilarious. Memphis is like, he's trying to make us look like fools. And it's like, no, calm down, buddy. He's just trying to play Big Brother on his own plane.
His own way, yes.
I just went fuzzy. Okay. Is anyone going to use it on David? No, there's literally no one in the house. David is asking Davon, and she was like, I was on the block last week. I would have taken myself down. He asked Kevin. Kevin's like, why would I take you down instead of me? Like, none of this is making sense.
Right.
No. Like, game wise, I was like, I don't know. I feel like if you're going to say it's a secret or like go with it being that it wasn't you for whatever reason, like have a target. Be like, you know what? Christmas has really been behaving a certain way and like go with it. Like do something with it. But just to be vaguely asking everyone in the house if it was them, that didn't actually work. But it was super fun to watch.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And because there comes a point where Memphis is like patting him on the shoulder, like, good job. You finally won a comp. And like he's like asking Cody, did you use it on me? And Cody's like, we all know you used it. Like, we all know it was you. And he's still just in complete denial. And he's like, well, or it was one of you because y'all just do this stuff. And it's like I don't understand the strategy. I don't understand what it buys you to have it not be you who used the power. Like, I don't know. I guess he thought like, if they know that this power was me, it's going to create a huge target, but like it was already there. You were already on the block. So own it.
No, I think he just doesn't want to give them the information. He just doesn't want to give them the pleasure of knowing or not. So, okay. It's hilarious. I'm all for it. Whatever. Thank you, Fred, for the super chat. Fred. This definitely has been the best week ever. This has been the most game we've seen the whole season. And this is just the beginning because after David takes himself off, we still have to play a veto comp, y'all.
Sarah, it's like you made a vision board in our video last week. Like, I don't remember exactly what you said, but you did. You were like, David's going to take himself off. I don't know if you said Tyler's going to be the renom, but I think we discussed it. And then you were like, I swear, I need to go back and watch it, but I swear you were like, Davon's going to win the veto and she's going to take Kevin down. And I was like, Sarah, it's too many ifs. It's too many things that have to come together. It's not going to happen. We've gotten our hopes up every single week. And what happened in the veto? But Davon won and took Kevin down.
I mean, you guys, I don't think I said Davon. I think I just wanted Kevin to win for himself and take himself down. But what's interesting about this, because I honestly had a heart attack at first. I mean, we've been waiting for Davon to win something. I'm so proud of her and so excited. But I was like, this is not the one I want you to win. Like, it's so much easier for Kevin just to take himself down than for Davon to get involved, especially since Dani was like just starting to actually work with her and trust her. And not be against her. So I was like, oh no, she's in such a tough spot. This is horrible, but it's amazing. And, you know, I don't think she was going to be a renom option, but she definitely couldn't be now to win.
Yeah, that's what I like about it, is that she's just guaranteed safety. And she, Kevin, and David, all three are now guaranteed safety. I love this scenario because those were the three obvious choices. Like, I do think you're right that Dani, she told Davon, you're safe. They were, you know, just in each other's good graces. It seems like this budding, you know, alliance, relationship, whatever it is. But I feel like if David had, you know, played his disruptor, Kevin won veto and took himself down, I think Davon would have been in danger, because I think there would have been too many people in the committee. Like, there's no other option. I know you promised day safety, but what are you going to do? Put up somebody from our alliance? Come on, Davon. There would have been a lot of pressure on Dani, and I think she would have buckled under that. And Davon, we would have seen Davon on the block again, and she probably would have gone home. So I am thrilled that she won it, has safety, and then decided to save Kevin. But that was not an easy choice based on how the rest of the house reacted after veto.
I mean, this is just the beginning. So now they're like, Davon wouldn't use this, right? Like, that would just be such a horrible game move for Davon to do something in her best interest and not ours. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Oh my God. Thank you for saying that, because that's exactly the subtext. Like, this is terrible for us. So Davon would never do it because she would never do that to us, right? Like,
they're like, doesn't she see what a bad move this is for us? Like, that is everything that they're saying. And she's like, but honestly, Davon played this so well, because she's like, no, it's not a bad move for me. What are you talking about? But she started with Dani, and she was just like, look, let's be real here. Like, you got people, you got Cody, you got Nicole, like Nicole's got Ian, like we're all working together. We're all working together. But like, look at these people you have. Like, you can't take a number from me. Like, he's a number for me. Kevin is my ally. He's my friend. So like, I just lost a friend. I'm not doing that again. Like, you get it, right? Look from the outside in. And honestly, I do think Dani got it, because she didn't push back too hard. Like, I was ready for, you know, full on Dani to be like, manipulate. And she really wasn't. She was like, I think if you do it, you're really going to set yourself up as a target. And Dave was like, what are you talking about? Why? And she was like, then you would be clearly a duo. And she was like, okay, no. And then like, that was it. They moved on. So I was like, wow, Dani's really not pushing her. But then everyone else, you know, is pushing Dani. They're like,
pushing Dani or pushing Davon?
Well, pushing the fear on Dani. Like, you can't put anyone else up. Like, who are you going to put up? Like, you can't let her use it. You got to stop her from using it. Like, that pressure came from the committee to Dani. And she's like,
but they're also like, it's full. It's not just Dani who's telling Davon, like, don't use it. It's like full court press from the whole house here. Like, trying to, and not just with Davon, with Kevin as well. Like, they're going up to Kevin. It's like a whole like 3-pronged strategy.
Oh, yes.
Like, we're going to tell Kevin that he's got the votes. You know, we're going to vote Tyler out. Like, you are not in danger. Don't even worry about it. And then we're going to tell Davon, this is a bad move for you. It makes you a target. Plus, like, Kevin's got the votes. Like, ask Kevin. ask Kevin. He has the votes and he knows he has the votes. Don't even worry about it.
No need to come off the block. So safe. Not a problem. Like everyone is like, they had a full on meeting. Like, this is what we have to do. Funny though, because Davon and Kevin are like, it's almost like they're following a script. Everyone has the same pitch. Like they saw it so very clearly, like a neon sign. Of what the house was doing. And Davon never said, she never told us, she never told Kevin, she never told Dani, she never flat out said, I'm definitely using this. She was like, I'm thinking about it. We'll see. And she said today that she needed everyone to be shocked. Like she really wanted everyone to be shocked. And they were, because she used it.
I love it so much. And I cannot wait to see this on television. Like, I can't wait. Because it's going to, tomorrow's episode is Disruptor plus all this veto stuff, right? Like, that is a packed episode. That's going to be so much drama. I'm actually like, we're probably going to miss a lot of good stuff in the episode because there's so much to draw from here. Because there's like a lot of game stuff happening.
Complete chaos since Friday night. They have to fit all into Tuesday's show, and it is tomorrow. You guys don't forget, it's Tuesday instead of Wednesday this week. But it's hilarious, and honestly, we just got to add on here because so now the nominees are Tyler and Ian, completely different than the original nominees. Tyler and Ian, and it was only like last minute that Dani felt comfortable enough putting Ian up. She got a lot of pressure from the committee that it had to be Ian. And she didn't want to do it. Nicole was trying so hard to make it not happen. But honestly, I got a lot of opinions about that because she didn't try enough with Dani to get someone else put up. She thought she needed to try with Day to not use it so that it's not Ian. But like, Dani's your closest person and you couldn't get Dani to put someone else up.
Because it was basically Ian or Enzo was going to be the replacement nom. Like these were,
if you're going by the committee.
Yeah, for sure. Those are like the other two people outside of the committee, but like, they're both close with a lot of people. Well, Ian's super close with Nicole and Enzo's close with a lot of people in the committee. Everybody likes Enzo. So, that's what's delicious about this week is that it just wasn't a good situation for Dani. It was not an easy call. And you love to see that kind of stress, like to see people have to like work through like, yikes, all of a sudden this week is an absolute nightmare for my game. Like, how do I do this? And I think there was some hesitation with Dani putting Ian up because of the stuff that we know, where they were, making fun of him behind her back. And so she doesn't want the optics of like, oh, I was laughing about his disability and now I'm sending him to the jury house. Like, yikes. But that does seem to be what's about to happen because against all odds, Tyler has the votes.
Tyler probably unanimously is staying, y'all. Tyler doesn't even have to do anything, and he is just not the target. They already were, even though it started with Dani being like, should I backdoor him? As soon as she put him up on Friday night, she was like, I don't want to. It's too soon. I don't want to. She'd already backpedaled and didn't want to do it, which is exactly what Cody and Nicole and Enzo for sure want. Definitely Christmas in Memphis as well. But what's really hilarious is that now that they put Ian up, Kevin, Day, and David were sitting together trying to figure out how they could flip it to save Tyler and get Ian out. And I was like, wait, what? What? Y'all first think that Tyler is in danger?
Well, I guess they took it to heart that like Tyler actually had the votes. Or Kevin actually had the votes. Like everyone was gonna vote Tyler out. So now they're like, okay, we saved Kevin, and now we have to save Tyler because he's really in danger. They all told us they were all ready to vote him out. I don't know why they believed that with like how hard they were coming at like Kevin safe, Kevin safe, Kevin safe, Kevin safe.
Yeah.
Like, that is suspicious. But I guess they believed that everyone was really ready to vote Tyler out. And now, yeah, like you say, it's kind of like parallel plans of like, how do we save Tyler? Everyone in the house just wants to save Tyler. And it's confusing because Dani at the beginning of her HOH reign was like, yikes, like taking a swing at Tyler, you can't miss. You have the opportunity here to not miss. Send him to jury. And I think it's easy to cover your bases with Ian because it's like, oh, like what were my options? You know, like you were not a target. I just had to nominate so many people. And I think it's really easy to smooth that over with Ian and not be made a target if you're Dani. But now they're just doing this whole flippity doodah, and I don't know what is going on.
It's pretty bonkers. I mean, Tyler is so protected. He's in one of the best places in the house. Like, he's set up really nicely, and a lot of people, no matter what Dani like really wanted, they were going to protect Tyler no matter what. And they were able to get Dani to put Ian up so that they could vote Ian out. Look, now Ian is a winner. There's 1,000 reasons to vote him out. Yes. Tyler's a great, strong player who came after you, Dani. There's reasons to get him out. So, like, you got two strong people on the block. Either one is good to get out. But the fact that Dani is keeping Tyler basically to appease her alliance members who are closer to Tyler than she is is not really a great game. Like, that's how you're spending your HOH.
Yeah.
Because she's in an alliance with Ian. She's in an alliance with Cody, Nicole, and Ian for Prime.
Yeah.
So technically, Ian has her back.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who probably doesn't have your back is Memphis and Christmas. And that's honestly who I think she should have gone after.
I agree. Yes. And I don't think anyone would have been upset if she put Christmas up.
No, not at all. I mean, technically, you are waging war on the committee.
Yeah.
Before you technically have to. But if I were Dani and I lined up all the people who I'm aligned with, because she's aligned with everybody, those are the two, Christmas and Memphis, who are going to come after you first. Like, those are the two that you should be worried about if you're keeping Tyler. Like, Dani should get rid of Tyler probably.
Right, yeah.
But like, if you're going to keep Tyler, she should have just cut Christmas or Memphis. I don't know why she, of all people, is cutting Ian, except that Ian, because Memphis wants Ian out, Christmas wants Ian out, Cody wants Ian out. That's it. Tyler doesn't want Ian out. But didn't have a lot to say here. That's what Dani is doing. So it is not good HOH, Dani. Is not.
No, and you're right. Like, I'm interested to see like what Ian is able to do in the next couple of days, if anything. Like, Tyler's just so well positioned. And I do think that your point about Dr. Will, like, I'm just now thinking about how Tyler was also saying things like, if I go to jury, like, I'm not staying the whole time. Like, I'm out of there. I'm not going to. And just like this, like, downer, negative, blah, blah, blah. And that seems to have been the perfect reverse psychology on this people, where they're like, oh, well, if he's going to go to jury and leave, I don't want to send him to jury. What? Why not? Like, what are you talking about? So, like, I don't know how that worked, but it seems like it did. But he
lowered his threat level, just like Will did. He lowered his threat level. He doesn't seem like he's into the game. He's like, whatever. Passion. Yeah, whatever. And I just think subconsciously you let your guard down on that, and you're like, okay, who else?
Totally. Yeah, right. But like I was saying, I'm interested to see what Ian can do. But I've seen conversations between like Dani and Nicole, for example. Nicole, like you said, absolutely did not want Ian on the block. She does not want to vote for him to go. And Dani's here like, you have to vote for Ian, Nicole. You have to. And Nicole Franzel is like, since when do I have to do what she says? Like, you're the HOH, you put up the noms, but we get to make the decision. We are the votes. So like, I don't have to do what you want. And I think that's kind of like, that's been a thing this season. It's like the HOH is king or queen of the house. It's not just like, I don't know, it's this like outsized influence that they seem to have, where they like act like you have to do everything I say, when in reality, and it happened this week as well with Davon and the veto. It's like the HOH is saying you can't win the veto or you can't use the veto, and it's like, well, if you didn't want the veto used, then you should have won it, Dani. But Davon won the veto, and she has that power, and she gets to do with it what she wants. And the same goes with the votes. They get to vote however they want. The HOH doesn't get to tell them to. And that seems to be something that Dani is doing. I think other HOHs have done it this season, but specifically Dani, it seems to be rubbing some people the wrong way. And I think they're getting frustrated at like how much power the HOH has each week.
Well, specifically with Dani and Nicole, because they were under the impression that they were going to be blindsiding Davon, David, and Kevin by keeping Tyler. So they thought that 3 votes were going to evict Tyler. And if Nicole gave a 4th vote, it would be tied 4-4. And then Dani would have to stand up and break the tie. And like, oh my God, Dani doesn't want to do that. Right, Heaven forbid you put that pressure on Dani. And to blatantly have to say, I'm keeping Tyler, she's losing Ian's jury vote. Like there's 1,000 reasons Dani doesn't want to do that. And, you know, but what's funny about all of this is that I don't think Davon, David, and Kevin are going to vote out Tyler. They're at least, I mean, again, everything can change by Thursday, but at the moment, they're like trying to figure out how they get Tyler on their side, what kind of deal they're going to make, and to flip the votes and keep Tyler. And it's just quite insanity is what's happening right now. And back to your point of like, it'll be interesting to see what Ian can pull out. He's, poor thing, is under the impression he's a pawn. And, you know, Dani is saying things like, oh, so sorry, you're just a pawn. We got, you know, and so he's coming from that place of like, oh, I get it. Like, I know I have to be up on the block a couple times. Like, that's just how the game is. He is already campaigning for votes, but I just don't know how seriously he's going to do it if he really thinks he's a pawn.
Like, is he gonna make deals or offer people safety or like, you know, go as far as he would if he knew that he were really in danger of going home? You know, he may not play as hard. I don't know. It's, you know, we still got tomorrow and 2 full days here for him to kind of realize what's going on. I don't know if he can do it, but we shall see.
And we'll see if Tyler even does anything, because right now, like, everyone else is doing the work for him. So, you know, he and Enzo were laughing earlier about like how Dani is like making all these mistakes. And I'm just like, oh my God, literally like Tyler and Enzo and Cody are looking so much better game wise than Dani and Nicole and, well, Christmas in Memphis. I don't know what they're doing, but they're sitting kind of, they look kind of good. Oh my gosh. It's just, I mean, it's so fun to watch, but I'm like, what? Dani's being outgamed right now? This is shocking.
Well, it's a tough, I mean, this is an incredibly difficult week. Like, it would be hard to come out of this week not looking bad, I think, as the HOH, just because of the way the chips fell on the powers. You know, putting 4 people on the block in 1 week. Has that ever happened? I don't know. Like, BB statisticians in the chat, like, let us know. But that seems like that is a crazy amount of blood to get on your hands in 1 week. And it's going to be,
I remember Cody
damage control.
Was it BB19? Cody had to nominate like half the house in 1 week, but that was like the first HOH. Remember that? That was so
that's right.
I don't remember exactly how many people he nominated, but that actually there were more people in the house. This is tougher to nominate 4 people down to like, what is there, 10 or 11 people in the house? Oh, anyway.
I mean, I do think that, do you think Dani's going to play her power based on the way this week went?
I was going to ask you that as well, because she originally said she doesn't want to. There's no reason to play again. But
now there is.
I feel like does she not see how bad her game is? I hope she does. I just feel like
that. When I don't, what better opportunity is there to play it on a week when you were HOH and had to nominate 4 people?
Yeah.
Give yourself the
Just
chance
do
to
it.
play it again.
Just do it, Dani. I feel like she thinks that if she shows that she had that power, it looks bad.
Right.
But like, honestly, if Tyler wins, I think he's going to put her up. I think she's legitimately in trouble with him. So this is so dumb.
I'm filing that away for a week from now when I can also say, Sarah, you were right.
I love it. I love being right all the time. I love it so much. Alexandra, thank you so much for the super chat. Of course, they can make a move, but every Big Brother player does this when it's not going their way.
Oh my
God. They can't see it. They just can't see it.
Did you see the cam talk from Nicole where she like had her morning coffee and she was out in the backyard by herself and she was like talking about how Davon won the veto? And she was like, I don't get it. Why does she get to use this power to save her ally, but then mine has to go home?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm like, wait, what? That doesn't make sense. Playing Big Brother doesn't make sense to you?
It's literally called the power of veto.
Right.
She has a power to use, but honestly, like she's missing the boat. Like she's not seeing the big picture here. The problem is not Davon using the veto. It's your alliance members putting up your number 2, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it's complicated because Cody just saved his number 2 in Tyler.
Yeah.
But like you got to play the game too, Nicole. Like you got to go up. If Cody's doing all of this work to save Tyler, you got to do more work to save Ian.
Exactly.
And she didn't. She focused it on Davon instead.
Yes, because the whole scenario is only 50% Davon using the veto and saving Kevin. The other 50% is Dani as HOH putting up Ian. So you got to put in an equal amount of work to try to make sure that Dani doesn't do that. And you didn't.
Yeah. If I were Nicole in that position, because I do see Ian is very important to Nicole's game. That is a strategic misstep right now. So if I were Nicole, I would have made something up. I would have started a fight. I would have done whatever I could have to put the target on someone else, like a Christmas. That would have been so easy. To like start a mess with Christmas, or it could have been meant like someone who you can easily stir the pot with and make a target out of them. Like that's what she missed, in my opinion. I would have. I will do that, and then I'll just put this up just to like make sure that I'm always right.
Yes, screenshotting that in my mind. Yes, correct.
I love it. Thank you guys for going along with that one. So you guys, this has already been fun, and it's going to continue to be fun. We will be back tomorrow after whatever this exciting episode is going to be.
Yep.
We will be back with all of that, and if anything else has happened on the feeds, more vote flips, any of that, we'll be back with that tomorrow night.
Absolutely. If you guys are watching later, if you are not in the chat, let us know what you think. Especially about all these spoilers. Like, who cares about the Sunday episode at this point? It is all about the spoilers and what has happened since. That is where the good stuff is. So let us know what you think about that, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for the episode.
Yes, we will. We'll see you guys then. Thank you so much for joining us live. Bye.
Right. Bye.
Bye.